Hello and welcome to another episode of the Make It Epic Wedding Podcast. Mate, it has been a while since I've seen your face. How are you?
G'day, Tim. I am well, mate. I'm so bloody excited to be back. I don't know if we're calling this a season or what we're doing, but anyway, we're back. We've had a few weeks off, and
We are back, baby.
it's been a bloody busy time, hasn't it? We have been working pretty hard behind the scenes for, I guess, not only Make It Epic, but Matt Ashley Photography, Above Blue Visuals. We've probably seen and spoken to each other a fair bit over the last few weeks.
Yeah. I've seen your face quite a fair bit, But look, we're getting some stuff done. Trying to provide some value for y'all, and it's been a journey, right? Like we've really started to build a baseline, learning new things, providing more value in more ways, and in ways that we didn't think that we could until we just started diving into it. But let's give a bit of a background into what we've been doing the last couple of weeks, mate.
Well, talking about diving in, can you believe that it's been, by the time this episode comes out, just over 1 year since we launched our first ever episode, and far out, I feel like we've come a long way. I said the other day to my wife, I was like, "Oh, can you believe it's been a year for the Make It Epic Wedding podcast?" And she's like, "What? Are you serious?" Like, she was blown away. I'm probably blown away too, to be honest, and I feel like we have come a long way in the podcast world.
Man, do you remember that first episode? We pressed record and we're like, oh shit, what do we do now?
I'm pretty sure you were dropping the F-bombs in the first 10 seconds. And I'm pretty sure the first sentence was like, I don't want to shoot effing weddings or something like that. It's been a transformation. As you were saying then, it's opened our eyes up to a lot of, I guess, different things, different opportunities. It's really changed the way that we run our businesses too.
Yeah, for sure. I think I found a new love and appreciation for what I do in the creative arts, and I've found a love for talking about how my experiences can help elevate those around me. It can help elevate couples planning their wedding day. It can help vendors, build a business around them that suits them, that's aligned with their goals as well. And it's exactly where this conversation is heading, right? We started as two mates, just too many things to say, and we're like, you know what, let's just press record and see what happens. And it just goes to show, right, if you honestly have a passion for something, if you believe in something, and if you love the work that you do, just follow your dreams, right? And we had no idea what we were doing. Clearly, we still don't really, to be honest.
We're still just winging it one day at a time, but it's pretty bloody awesome to think about where we have come from, and it's only been a year, but in the podcast world, that's a fair while, this is probably episode 46, I think 47, something like that. Anyway, we've done a lot. We've had a couple of weeks off, obviously, so it's pretty,
overall it's been pretty consistent. Obviously we've had some breaks between Christmas and mid-year, but I feel like hats off, mate. Well done, because we've been pretty good at, I suppose, the consistency of getting a podcast out each week.
While still shooting
weddings.
And got kids now. I've got a kid since we started this, and you've still got your two girls, obviously,
Yeah, still got them, yep.
They're still around. Good
still
work.
There.
Keeping them alive for another year. But yeah, it's definitely something that, we never probably thought that we'd get to this point, because the statistics really fight against the old podcast world. I think most people who start a podcast don't get past 10. So
yeah,
we've done right.
We didn't do this to make money. That wasn't our driver. We really wanted to not just start a podcast. We wanted an avenue to have a chat about the things that we are passionate about, and the things that we think we can help elevate an industry. The things that, from our experiences, we can help you plan a wedding, because we don't think weddings should be stressful. We really don't. And as a creative business owner, I don't think it is. Business is hard. Business is difficult. I'm not gonna lie. It is a hard road, and just like exposure therapy, you need to be exposed to the elements of running a business to be able to thrive in this industry. You really do. But you can always leverage those around you that are where you want to be. And I think that's really where we've started to grow in an area, in making sure that we can help elevate an industry that's treated us so well.
Absolutely. And if we just said that little spiel to our wives, they probably wouldn't listen to us anyway and tell us to shut up. So, it's it's
my
probably
wife is so over it, hey?
Yeah, every time I go and record, she's like, "Oh, are you talking to Tim again?"
Thanks, Jess. You're off the Christmas list this year.
But I suppose let's just tell everybody. So if you've been following along on the socials, you probably would have heard already by now, we have finally launched a Make It Epic website, which, mate, it looks freaking sick. I'm very, very excited about it. It's probably something we've needed to do for a long time. And the aim, I guess, for the website is not only just to kind of tell people more about Make It Epic, but also to spread the love and to, I guess, help you out there with some resources down the track and things like that. There's not a whole lot on there, I suppose, in terms of that at the moment, but it's coming.
Yeah. It was important for us, like, not to just have, a plain website. Like, it needed to be epic. Like, it needed to be epic. There was no doubt about that. But we wanted a website that had the ability to really, like, showcase who we are, right? Showcase, like, who we are, what we do. And it's going to be a platform we're going to give away a lot of free resources for those planning their wedding and also for those building a creative business.
Absolutely. And I guess before we dive into the other aspect of the website and what that looks like, maybe let's just tell everybody the super exciting news that we have in terms of, like, a partnership that we have probably been really keen. Like, when me and Tim started this podcast and we thought about getting sponsors or, partnerships and things like that on board, this company was probably pretty high up on the list of trying to get them on board and trying to see what we could do with them. Do you want to let everybody know who this company is?
Yeah. So look, I'm going to make you wait a little bit longer, but before we say who it is, tease you a bit. It was important for us, like, when we partnered with brands and bring on sponsors, that they aligned with our vision, right? They aligned with our values. We wanted to make sure that they offered value to our audience. And, it's not just partnering with anyone that's going to provide a dime. It's making sure that the businesses that we partner with are aligned and really provide value to you guys. Because we would rather pay for the podcast, make sure that we're spending our own money, which we do. Yeah, to be honest, the podcast is pretty expensive. Like, running a podcast is not cheap, but we do it for the love. But a couple of weeks ago, we got our good friend, Chris Garbix from Studio Ninja, who was co-founder of Studio Ninja, on board. And, we chatted about a CRM that has provided us a platform to manage all of the admin within our business. And when they asked us if we wanted to come on board as an ambassador, of course we said yes. Because it's a brand, it's a business that we know, we love, and we trust, and it's a business that Matt and I have a lot of experience in. Like, we've both built our businesses, and we run our businesses using that platform that makes our life so much easier.
Yeah, absolutely. And anybody who isn't using a CRM, like we've spoken before on the podcast, like, they're missing out, to be honest. Like, there's a lot that they're missing out on, and it's really hard to run your business effectively without something like Studio Ninja. So we are bloody stoked to jump on board with these guys and become affiliates and have a sneaky little discount code for you guys, which
not just any sneaky discount code.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one. So it's a 50% off the first year, which we are absolutely stoked for you guys. If you're in Australia, like, that's a good hefty, I think it's about $150 discount or something like that you get, which is amazing. So definitely worth checking it out. And if you want to use our code, it is MakeItEpic50. You can find that in our show notes, which we will leave below. And yeah, look, we are super stoked because these guys are amazing and we love Studio Ninja. If you haven't noticed already, But what
The value,
yeah.
the value does not stop there.
This is Tim with his car sales little rep going on. He's all excited. He's doing a little party dance over there. Because as Tim said, yeah, the value doesn't stop there. And me and Tim were like, oh, it's all well and good to give you a 50% off discount or whatever. It's kind of cool. But I remember that I had a sneaky discount when I started. It was like 20% or something like that from somebody. And I was like, oh, it's cool. But it took me a long bloody time to work out how to use Studio Ninja, to be honest. And us as creatives, we don't always have a lot of time up our sleeve.
No, we definitely don't. And you know, it's important when we became ambassadors. You know, we didn't want to mention it straight away because we wanted to make sure we can provide as much value as possible. And as Matt said, you know, it's a steep learning curve. Although Studio Ninja is an amazing piece of software, it does take a little bit of time to understand the features around it. And, you know, as business owners, we are time poor, we're overworked, we're stressed. Well, some of us are stressed. I've got a pretty good routine. I'm not too stressed. My kids are sleeping through the night now, so I'm good. But we wanted to make sure we can provide a way that we can actually teach you how to set up your Studio Ninja from zero to pro. An absolute newbie from zero, setting it all up. So we are giving all of those who sign up to Studio Ninja with our code a free 17-part video series that walks through all of Studio Ninja. How to set it up completely. Every single setting you need to start getting clients through the door. How about that?
It's wild. So just to reiterate, that is our first course we have ever done. So we are pretty stoked for this. So yeah, this is an online course for you guys. If you use our code, we will give it to you for free so that you can level up your Studio Ninja game instantly. And you know, if you've never used it before, it is perfect for you guys. So yeah, like definitely keen to get this out to the world. As we said, it's already live by now, and maybe some of you have already been using it. Who knows? If you have been, we'd love to definitely hear your thoughts because we're keen and we've put a fair bit of time and energy into making this happen. And I don't know. I'm pretty lost for words. I feel like I'm like a proud dad, but proud business owner like right now of the fact that we did this. And it's like super out of our comfort zone too, I suppose, in a sense of like it's not something we've done before. Me and Tim sat down for an entire day in front of the screen and in front of the camera and recorded and had a bit of fun with it. So it's definitely something new and we are pumped.
We did. So, all right. Well, that's that. Let's move on to the episode.
Next.
that was that. But look, today
couldn't move on any faster. He's like, get me out of here.
just to move on, we'll just put a pause there. Just because we spent 10 minutes on that. So should we just go straight into the?
Yeah. I didn't mind. I didn't mind the laughing back and forth going over it. Yeah. That was John. If you didn't get it, we should take out a bit of this middle section here or something like that. Anyway.
Yeah. Yes. Definitely do that. All right. Yeah, man. Absolutely amazing. So it's been a busy couple of weeks, but we are pretty proud that we've done what we could to make sure that we're providing a lot of value out there for those that are especially. Let's fuck that off.
Just disregard it. When we were laughing and Tim's like sliding into the next one, just go straight into that next section. Like when I was like, oh, just moving on next. All right, here we go, and then just roll into what we're going to talk about. So you start it because you were I was laughing at you.
All right, let's jump into the fuck's sake. All right, let's jump in. So what are we talking about today?
Oh, mate, today we have got something that I feel like a lot of people will resonate with, and something that I don't know, like no one wants regret. So today we're talking about 3 regrets from past brides or grooms or couples that we have worked with, and it's something that I suppose we talk a lot about on the podcast in the previous episodes, but we're just going to break it down for you. 3 super quick points about the regrets that they've had.
It's an interesting one, right? Because you don't want to regret anything on your wedding day, right? No. It is a massive day. You're planning up to a year and a half, 2 years. 2 years. Imagine planning for 2 years, up to a year and a half, and having a regret about something within your planning process after the wedding day. It's pretty sad, and you know, as a vendor, sometimes you can actually see this happening before it happens, right?
Yeah, I suppose that's the pro to us having experience and seeing it all before. Maybe like this is just pulling this question out of nowhere, but have you like, don't use what we've already kind of like our 3 points, but did you have any regrets on your wedding day, or like, you know, between you and Kate?
Yeah, I definitely did. I don't think it's.
I don't think I can share them on the podcast.
I'm trying. Look, there's probably definitely a few. Like, I got married pretty young, so like we still spent probably 40 grand like on a wedding. So like I got married when I was like 25, like fairly young, right? 20 young. 20 young.
20 young, that was
25, good. 25, fairly young. I didn't have too much of a, like, I had an input for sure. Like, grooms have an input. I suppose back then, like, I was like, yeah, Kate, like, you make the decisions, that's fine. And for us, like, we didn't necessarily choose vendors that aligned with, you know, the type of wedding that we wanted. And a big one is I didn't have a videographer at my wedding. How's that?
Wild. Look at you. But at the time, you were, as you said, 20 young, and weren't really.
Thanks, mate.
You weren't really like at the time shooting weddings and things like that. So it was something for you that was something quite new. And I think
shooting, but not shooting weddings.
Yeah.
I feel like 25 is too young to be shooting weddings, to be honest.
Well, that's a big call right there.
Yeah, sometimes.
There are people out there that are quite young shooting weddings, and sometimes it's not about the age, it's about the maturity. And I'm not gonna dig against
I think
them,
back then I was just way too immature back then. At 25, I still am a big kid, to be honest.
Standard. I definitely, from my point of view, I remember. Me and my wife kind of had a sticky situation because we got married during the COVID time, so that was fun. So we had a 80 or 90 person wedding planned and had to end up doing like a 30 person wedding like 6 or 7 months after the actual date itself was meant to be.
Thanks for the invite, mate.
Yeah, my wife, I'm just ignoring you because I don't like you. But I remember Jess was saying like she regrets like us not maybe waiting a bit longer just because she couldn't have everybody there that she wanted there.
That is a tough one. I think it's probably
a weird situation. Yeah.
Yeah, especially if you got married in COVID times, like that definitely put an added stress to planning a wedding. But also like I think it affected the day quite a fair bit as well.
Yeah, because like I feel like now, especially when like there's some people getting married still, like that are friends of ours that were meant to come to our original wedding that like we couldn't have at our wedding and things like that. So it does become a bit
a-hole.
Yeah, it's a bit sticky situation. Anyway, soz, but it's just the way the world was back then, I guess. So I don't know, like that's something quite like in terms of a regret, it's not. I don't know if it's a regret, but it's something that still plays on people's minds. And if we can eliminate some of those things, during the podcast and things like that, we're all about that. So let's dive in. What
number
is
one, mate?
Number one.
It's feeling rushed on your wedding day, and it's something that I hear so much, right? So much because for all my couples, after I deliver the wedding film, I send them out a blog, and I want to ask all these questions like, how was the wedding day? What was your experience like throughout the wedding planning process? What was it like on the day? And what's your experience now? Like after you've come back from a honeymoon, and life is beginning. You've spent all that time planning a wedding. Like, what are the main like regrets that you do have? And it is pretty common, like feeling too rushed on the wedding day. There's no time to eat, no time to drink, no time to potentially do the things that they wanted to do. And, like it's sad because it could be avoided, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also one of those things where you could be missing something like, having some time with each other. You don't want to feel rushed on the day. Like for me, I always recommend to couples, like, give yourself some sort of leeway throughout the day and at different parts of the day, because if you're giving yourself that leeway, there's always time up your sleeve. And on a wedding day, time is your best friend. It can, like, 100%, it will make or break your day.
Or it can be your worst enemy.
Yeah, like, literally, yeah. So if you're not thinking about the time, you know, and some of these conversations and some of these thoughts, like, they really start from day one. And we are massive, I guess, fans when it comes to the planning situation and making sure you're really, like, prioritizing what, I guess, values you have in terms of, like, time, and in terms of, like, what's your negotiables and non-negotiables, and what is it that is important to you guys. For me, number one, 100% would have to be time. I want to have time to breathe, to do things that I want to do on the day without feeling like someone's chasing me around, getting me to move to the next thing.
Oh man, like that's one quick way to just become so stressed. And it's why we have a heavy hand in, you know, like building out your run sheet. It's why we excuse me.
You almost threw up then, mate.
It was those Tim Tams. It was those bloody Tim Tams.
Yeah, it's Kate's out of the house and Tim's smashing the Tim Tams.
John, please don't. Please don't include that.
Wow, we're rubbish at the moment.
What was I saying?
Just your face looked like your eyes were about to fall out of your head. Oh man,
What was I saying?
I said, I don't know, you can almost just move on. Anything else on time rushing? I feel like it's almost it.
And it's why we have a heavy hand, you know, in like planning our couple's wedding, because we want to make sure that, you know, there is enough time spread out, but we also want to make sure that we're doing the things that align with you, right? And a lot of the time, which is really interesting, like now, compared to like a year ago, is that I'm telling couples to skip some of portrait time to spend more time at canapes and during cocktail hour. Matt, do you know how we rave on about client experience a little? And do you want to know the golden nuggets behind my client delivery system?
Not really, but anyway, I know you're going to tell me, so shoot.
Thanks, mate. Love that. But you know we're all about leveling up our client experience. And if you're still delivering wedding films to your couples with Google Drive or Dropbox, then you really aren't giving them the best experience, are you? And this is why I use VidFlow. It's a pay-per-use online platform that allows you to deliver on-brand websites with your very own domain for each of your clients while still being incredibly affordable. And VidFlow is accessible on mobile, desktop, and my absolute favorite feature is the fact that it links to your smart TV so your couples can watch their wedding film on their own big screen. And with all that effort that you put into your film, you really want to ensure your couples can have the best experience possible. So use our code MakeItEpic20 for 20% off your VidFlow yearly premium membership.
I think that comes with experience though. Like, not every photographer, not every videographer is going to be out there, and not every couple out there will want that for them either.
No.
You know, and that's definitely a case-by-case basis. And I think as we progress in what we want for our couples, and how confident we are in getting the shots we need and things like that, it's going to change the way that we shoot. You know, there's plenty of photographers out there that, you know, they want hours on end, and that's okay, you know, because that's what they want. And obviously that's been something that's been chatted about in pre-meetings and things like that with couples in the lead up to the wedding. But for us, we're definitely on the same page when it comes to I guess minimalizing that time away from guests, but still making sure we're getting good quality content for the couple too.
Yeah, and it comes down to storytelling. And I, you know, it's my favorite part of the process because I get to make creative decisions that align with who my couple really is. Like, what are the things that really make them unique, and how can I incorporate that into, you know, into their wedding film? So how can I create those shots, but also how can I, you know, help elevate like the film, help elevate their day by doing like these things and recommending that they, you know, plan their wedding or they do certain things within their day that align with, would be, best for them. And it's really interesting when you say things like, well, if you want to spend some time at Canapes, maybe we can spend an extra 10, 15 minutes at sunset. And maybe for those 10 minutes, like you can just have some time to be alone and completely just decompress, like with no photographer, no videographer around. Would still obviously be somewhere creeping, but we give them some time alone. And, sometimes it's just like their eyes light up. And like, I think I can pick which couples would be best suited to that now, just because of the experience in doing this for so long. But, every wedding is different. Every couple is different. And it comes down to your personality. Like, what's important to you, your negotiables, your non-negotiables. We really should do something about personality, how personality affects your wedding planning, for sure.
Dun, dun, dun. Writing notes down and watching the space.
But it's so true, right?
Yeah, 100%. And, I think that it's not even like for us to be able to create a better wedding film or, for us to create better images for you guys. It's actually for you guys to enjoy yourselves. Imagine how much better it'll be on your wedding day if you aren't rushing around. Like, if you're not, feeling like you've got your head chopped off and you're, trying to chase it. Because that's not what we want for your wedding day. That's not the expectation that you should have leading into your wedding day. And it's probably one of those thoughts that's quite misleading, I suppose, in traditional, that, oh, your wedding day is so busy and you've got to do all these things. Well, no. Yeah. It's not. And at the end of the day, there are opportunities for you to create a wedding day that is actually something that you want and that is uniquely you. And if you are doing that, your photos, your videos, your entire day will be so much better for it.
Wait, what's Matt's golden nugget here to make sure that you don't have a rushed wedding day?
I think I said it before, but just give yourself half an hour during maybe even during between ceremony and reception. Give yourself an extra 30 minutes there, and maybe even giving yourself a little bit extra time in prep. For me, I find that at prep, especially, no offense to hair and makeup, but sometimes those things can just take a little bit longer than planned for. So I've been saying a lot lately to try and suggest to tell couples to tell their hair and makeup artists just to finish that little bit earlier, and they can stick around that that little bit longer if you want the shot of the fake makeup or hair shot. But they're probably in terms of timing, they're my two big must do.
That's a really interesting one for prep though as well, because I personally feel if you rock up to prep and you can see that everyone's running around their heads are chopped off, it sets a tone for the rest of the day, and you can't and that's it's really hard to get out of that energy. So yeah, just be aware, please. We want everyone to have an amazing wedding experience, and it's really easy for stress to creep in and anxiety to creep in when you are so rushed.
Oh, 100%. And it's unnecessary.
Yep.
I think we've definitely covered that point. I think the next one kind of rolls off really nicely. So number 2, what are we talking?
So number 2 is about rush decisions, right? So number 1 was about, being rushed on your wedding day. And number 2, we're talking about rush decisions with, the decisions you make during your wedding planning process, a year, 2 years in advance. And it can be a tough one because, being engaged is exciting. You want to rush into your wedding planning. You want to dive straight in. You're like, yep, I've been thinking about this for years and years and years. I've got a venue sorted. I know what vendors I want. And, I think it's important just to take some time and, enjoy a bit of time just, being engaged. You have a
Absolutely.
fiance. Don't necessarily rush into yes, wedding vendors do book outs quite in advance, but what's worse is actually booking the wrong vendor.
Yeah, absolutely. And having it's the pressure around that is no one wants to book the wrong person, but the pressure around the misleading pressure maybe in the industry is that you need to book stuff like, 18 months to 2 years in advance. I would say that's unnecessary. I would almost go so far to say that, more like a year in advance kind of is more realistic. So anyone telling you 18 months to 2 years is probably too far away, unless it's like a rad destination wedding.
Yeah, like there's some months in, what's it now? It's August, and there's some months at the end of next year, I'm already completely booked out.
Yeah, but like it doesn't happen every single year. Do you know what I mean?
No,
and
it doesn't.
And it's only for those popular dates, like anything with like 11/11, whatever it was, or 22/11/22, or any of those ones that have like matching numbers, and people are like upset. I don't know why I went straight to November then, but I did. But anyway,
isn't that your anniversary? Didn't you get married in November?
No, I did not. So don't stitch me up like that. It's okay, I got this. That's my birthday. That's my birthday month though. So just remember that one.
But yeah, look, it is